Today, we're going to walk through what is, essentially, an executive masterclass in turning things around. We're talking about a government farm, a place that was teetering on the edge of failure that managed to engineer a complete, and I mean complete, transformation. The big question is how, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Okay, let's start with the headline. 1.5 crore rupees. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's the farm's annual income right now. And remember, we're not talking about some high-tech startup here. This is a public farm, which makes this figure, well, it makes it pretty incredible. So you've got to be asking, right? How on earth does a struggling government operation pull that off in just 2 years? Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't a miracle. It was a strategy, a really, really smart strategy. And we're about to break down exactly how they did it. To really get what a huge deal this is, we have to look at where this farm was coming from. And let me tell you, the picture was not good. It was bleak. So this place has some deep roots, right? It was established way back in 1943, became a government farm in 56. But all that history, that legacy, was seriously at risk by 2021. The whole operation was staring down a very uncertain future. And it's not hard to see why. I mean, look at this list. It was a perfect storm of problems. You had fruit trees literally withering away, constant arguments with labor, wild animals causing damage, even disputes over the land itself. And what does all that add up to? The one thing no business can survive: stagnant income. The situation was dire. So what do you do when a system is that broken? You don't just put a bandage on it. You have to rebuild it from the ground up. And for them, that new foundation was all about technology. And this is probably the most important takeaway of the whole story. There was no single magic bullet here, no one quick fix. The turnaround came from a complete overhaul of their system, a strategic pivot to high-tech, precision farming methods. It was all about getting the absolute maximum return from every single resource they had. So, the first big innovation? Ultra-high-density planting. Now, instead of spacing crops out in the traditional way, they planted them much, much closer together. This is a total game changer for land efficiency. You're dramatically increasing your potential harvest from the exact same piece of land. It's a pure productivity move, squeezing more value out of every single square meter. The second innovation is just as clever. It's called the Vietnam pepper method. So pepper vines usually need big trees to climb. Instead, they started using simple PVC pipes wrapped in coir. It's brilliant. It's low cost, it saves a ton of space, it makes harvesting easier. It's just a perfect example of how they pivoted to smarter, more efficient tech. Okay, so the tech sounds cool, but did it work? This is where the story gets really interesting. Let's look at the cold, hard cash, the direct financial impact of these new strategies. And here it is. You can't argue with these numbers. Before 2021, the farm was bringing in around 55 lakh rupees a year. Just 2 years after they put the new system in place, it skyrocketed to 1.5 crores. The connection is crystal clear. New methods led to massive new revenue. Let's just put that in one big number. That's more than a 200% increase in annual income. An absolutely incredible return on their investment, and they did it in such a short amount of time. But you know, this story isn't just about the money. The increased income was just the fuel. They used it to build a much bigger, thriving ecosystem, turning the farm into a business with many different layers. First thing they did was diversify their crops, and they went all in. They brought in high-value exotic fruits like dragon fruit and avocado, spices like nutmeg, a whole lineup of winter vegetables. This was so smart because it spread out the risk and opened up completely new markets. And you know what more crops means, right? It means more opportunities to create value-added products. The farm's processing unit went into high gear. They expanded their line of things like jams, squashes, and pickles from about 50 different products to over 70. Every single one of those is another way to make money. And then they made another genius move. They opened their doors. Farm tourism became a huge part of their new business model. Their yearly NATOURA Festival now pulls in tens of thousands of people. Think about that. It creates this amazing direct-to-consumer sales channel right there on the farm. Okay, so you've got the tech, you've got the products, but how do you actually execute all of this day to day? Well, that took a complete revolution in the farm's operational engine, its management. They basically tossed out the old way of doing things, that centralized top-down management style.
And in its place, they built something called the 35-block system. It's the exact opposite, decentralized, team-based, and it's all built around making decisions together.
It's actually pretty simple. They split the whole farm into 35 smaller, more manageable blocks. Now get this, the laborers themselves are chosen to be the block leaders and assistants for each one. They're empowered to manage their own little piece of the farm. They take ownership. So when big challenges come up, like those labor issues they used to have, the decisions are made as a group. It totally changed the dynamic from conflict to collaboration. Now, this incredible story of financial and operational turnaround isn't just something we're talking about. The entire system has now gotten official, high-level recognition for its success. This whole integrated model, the technology, the diversification, the new way of managing people, it started getting noticed. Big time. And here it is. In 2023, the farm's leadership won the Best Farm Officer Award. Now, this isn't just a pat on the back. It's the state's official stamp of approval, saying that this is a successful and, more importantly, a replicable model for how to do agriculture right. And really, that's what we're left with. This farm didn't just save itself. It created a blueprint for how to revitalize public enterprises by mixing technology, sharp business strategy, and human empowerment. So the question isn't if this can be done somewhere else. The question is, where should this blueprint be used next?